We are officially live, and I need to go to my YouTube channel so I can actually see the chat.
All right.
I'm sure you can, if you can see if anybody's watching. Hopefully we get a few people watching here.
I'm doing the same.
Here we go. I can see you. Oh no, I gotta pause that. I gotta mute that. All right, here we go. Oh, there we go. And here's the chat. All right, we got 30 people watching. Folks, SC Reefer, hey Mass, hey, SC Reefer, I just want to say sorry about last night with all those super chats you did. That was awesome. Joey was clearly taking up all the time, but you know how when you're on the top, you can do whatever you want. This is a random live stream, and I've got a special guest, my boy, Sean, who so graciously decided after all his hard work all day long with his work and his family and his water changes to not watch a movie with his wife or his daughter and chillax, but to come on a live stream with me. So, Sean, thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. They were watching Little Women anyway. I've seen that like 100 times. So
Little Women, Jesus, is that from like 91 or that's got to be like the early 90s?
Oh my gosh, they watch that at least like once a month, and they giggle through the whole thing. It's pretty funny, but loud. So thank you for the live stream. That's so like fun.
I'm happy. Hey, what's that? There's this like strange license plate in the back of your, like right behind your right ear, right over there.
Yeah, right back here.
Is that a Massachusetts license plate?
It
right
is. There? I got that in my aquarium box one month.
It's funny how that happens. I never pack any of my aquarium boxes anymore. I have no clue how these things randomly show up in my aquarium box. It's like the my aquarium box fairy just like decides to like throw a bunch of things in there.
Yeah, I know. It just kind of drops it in there. I'm not sure how that happens. So, what is the story with that license plate? What is the story with that?
No real big story. So every month, and for those of you watching, Sean is a good friend of mine. And I can say that because I've met him actually in person, not just on like a screen.
That makes us for real friends, right?
Yes, we're for real friends. We're bearded brothers. And one night, so Sean has been getting my aquarium box. He got one of the very first ones before we're even online, and he's been getting them for over 2 years now, which is simply amazing. But one night I was like, you know what? I'm gonna mess with Sean, and I'm gonna send him something in the box, and he's gonna be like, oh, and I got this food, and I got this, and what the frig is this? And then now I just cannot. Every single month, whether I'm there for boxing, because sometimes Greg boxes all by himself with a bunch of people, because I'm working. I always say, make sure you put Sean's box aside for me because I need to stick something in it, and it's got to be creative, something that he might think would be funny, or whatever. And now I can never not do that because this past month Greg boxed. And I was like, you better make sure you put Sean's box aside, because if you don't, I am going to be pissed off. So make sure that box is aside for me, because I'm going to put something in it. It needs to go in it. And then like I search the house and I get creative. And this month, I don't know if you've opened the box yet.
I haven't opened it. Don't spoil it yet.
All right, I won't say a thing. I won't say a thing.
I was going to open it tonight and do a video, but I ended up doing some water changes because I was like, I can't sit up in front of this aquarium. It looks terrible. So I've cleaned all my tanks for a big like all aquarium update I want to do. So I'll be unboxing that and a couple of other things in the next 2 days.
I can't believe we're still charging you for my aquarium box. You should literally get one for free every month.
Well, it's It's fun. I like them. I really like the My Aquarium boxes. And if I didn't, I would have just given up on it a while back. But I tell you what, I'm always using. I'm always like, oh my gosh, if I like, oh wait, 3 months ago I got this little thing in a box, and it works out perfectly. So I've
Yeah,
used them.
you must
I don't.
have to maybe put up a small shed to store all your My Aquarium Box crap.
Most of the stuff I fit under, like I've got it in categories now under my 55 here. I was like, okay, I got a little food here. I got some hardscaping items, and I've got some little tools and things like that. And then I just pull it out. It's like having my own little store in there.
Yeah,
And it's
it
awesome.
literally, it's like having a tiny store.
Yeah.
And it's the middle of the night and no stores are open, and all of a sudden you need something and you're like, I have that. Oh my God.
Or
Boom.
your staple food. You got some staple food and it runs out, or you want to just give your fish a little something else to eat. And here's something that maybe you would have walked by at the pet store and not picked up, or if it was available at your pet store. But like I was just feeding those granule ones that you guys have your own food labels and stuff now.
Yeah, we do. We're doing good. Um, there's
I was
there's a
feeding
lot
that
of
just last night, and my Bisher loves it.
I love that thing. I'm getting one. I'm telling you. I'm going to talk about that in a sec, but I want to answer a few chats because last night was just crazy. With the king on, he kind of takes over the show. But we have
Oh yeah.
ARD's corner here that says, "Evening, Mike and Sean, two of the best sincere blokes on YouTube. Another
Oh, that's
late one
nice.
for us in the UK, folks. I will go to sleep." And that is basically what the chat was last night, and it was just so tough to get to it. It was ridiculous. But anywho, I don't even know what you were just talking about because I had to stop and read the chat, and that's why it's so tough to read the chat.
I was sitting here getting my web browser caught up. Let's see.
Uh, the Baishir, right? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I just actually that's one of the few fish I just went out and tried to learn the scientific name because I can't figure out how to pronounce the common name.
I have no clue how to
But
pronounce
it's a
it.
Polyipterus. I probably
Polyipterus.
said that wrong, but it's Polyipterus, and mine is a Tangalusi, or I know I'm saying that wrong.
A Tangalusi.
Yeah, Polyipterus. There's like a Senegalis, I think is the more common one, like you'd see at maybe PetSmart, those silver ones. They get enormous. Well, they all get pretty big. I think mine's supposed to get to about 18 inches long, is what I've read.
That's what
So,
she said.
yeah.
Those Instagram little short videos on that thing, maybe what, like roughly 4 to 8 weeks. You were showing it when you were trying to get your big tank set up to transfer it, and
And it would
it's
just
just
grow and grow.
I really need to get into some sort of fish that is personable. I have one
Yeah.
fish out of all my tanks, and it's a coral hopping hawkfish that's like a little dog. And every time you go up to the tank, it like swims up and hops on a coral and just looks at you, and it follows you around. Sort of like an Oscar or like a flower horn or like any of these big fish that like you almost think is an actual pet. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. That this guy is always like he'll peek out at you and you'll see him like begging for food, or he'll just kind of stare at you. As soon as you walk up to the tank, he disappears. But uh, what's really great is when the lights get real dim and low, he'll come out and swim around, and he shows himself a lot more than I thought he would. But he's
Now, what do
got a
you
definite.
what are you feeding that thing? What does he eat?
He eats just about anything. I've been throwing in some stuff like little frozen these little frozen meat concoctions that they make for discus. He
Oh,
loves
like
that, and
frozen beef heart and stuff?
yeah, it's a mixture of different things, but it's all like protein based stuff. I'll throw that in there. He'll eat cichlid bites. He loves those little crumbly things I got in my aquarium box last month. I was throwing that in there. And he's eating that. Everybody was eating that. So he's not picky at all.
I know anybody who's watching my channel probably also watch your channel, but literally, how long did you spend doing water changes for all your 97 tanks today? Did you do them all? Do you do half? Do you do 3/4 one day and then like 3/4 the next day?
Normally I do half, or no, normally I do all of it. And before the big tank, it was like a 3-hour chore. Now it's about a 4-hour, project. So this week I tried doing half. So I did half of them yesterday and half of them today, and that was a little bit better. But it was still like it's about 2 hours each time.
Well, that's
each
not too bad.
level of the house.
That's not too bad.
No,
2 hours. To get half of them done. That's pretty good. What I'm just gonna. So I have like a crazy list of questions that I love to ask YouTubers, but
Okay.
since you're my boy, I have some crazy questions that I would just love to ask you. Period.
All right, I'm a little scared, but that's cool.
No need to be scared. Inquiring minds want to know. Do you what do you get to actually enjoy your tanks? Like, let me just give me like 30 seconds and then you can answer. I've known from personal experience when you have so many tanks, it becomes a labor of love where like you spend so much time taking care of all the tanks or neglecting tanks because you're taking care of so many other tanks that you really don't even get to like just like sit back and enjoy a tank, like a tank that like when you're watching TV, it's right there and you're like, wow, that tank is really, really pretty. Or I've noticed I enjoy my tanks. So I had almost 18 tanks at one time and I got them down to 3. And now I really enjoy my tanks now that I have a low tank load. So do you ever get to enjoy your tanks or is it just always constant taking care of?
I don't get to. It's not a constant thing. Like I noticed, I'm really glad I have the big tank downstairs, like the big new project downstairs, where I can enjoy it a little bit more often because that's one you see from pretty much anywhere in the first floor. The ones upstairs, like if I'm not working up in my studio a lot, I don't see them as often, so I don't feel like I enjoy them as much as I could. Um, I definitely know what you mean. Like the less tanks you have, but you can kind of focus in on one in particular. So it's kind of a yes no. There's a lot of times. There's a lot of times I can really support or the. I'm sorry. There's a lot of times I really get to sit and enjoy the tanks, but for the most part, you can never keep up with that many. I mean, at 18, it's just like, several of them are project tanks. They're like not meant to sit and be showy and enjoy them. They're more just for growing out rainbow fish right now.
Yeah. Even when you had KP and your wife on in one of your most recent videos, and your wife was like, "Oh, I think it's beautiful. I love nature, and I don't have to take care of them, so it even makes it better." But like, I just get a little bit of anxiety thinking of how many tanks you have to take care of. Now,
well, luckily they're really low maintenance, so that like the taking care of it part that isn't too bad. Like I have a little bit of trimming to do now and then and stuff, but for the most part I plant it and I just let it grow wild. So I don't take a lot of time. I'll pull some algae out and stuff like that, but really even that isn't so outrageously bad that it takes a long time to do anything. So I basically only pull water out and put it back in and occasionally like update some filter media, nothing huge.
A couple of my favorite of your 18 tanks is the 55 behind you. I really am a big fan of. There's your tank. I think it's called Into the Woods. where you have all the trees growing up and
Yeah.
a shitload of moss. I absolutely
Yeah.
love that tank. And then I don't know if it was like 6 months or a year ago, you had the tank with the Wabikusa glass.
Yeah. The steampunk tank.
No, no, not the steampunk tank. I haven't got to that one yet. You had the
Oh.
tank. Was that the same tank where you had just the like suction cup little glass bowls?
Oh, the mini gardens.
The mini gardens, I think it had all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
micro dwarf hairgrass or whatever in the bottom, and you had like the little glass thing suction cup to the back wall.
Yeah.
Um, so there's the 55, the Into the Woods, the like Wabikusa tank, are three of my four, and the last one being my most favorite is a steampunk tank because it's like when you broke it down and took the top off and like this is the tank, and then I've got this way up here, then you gotta like put the friggin' roof on it and everything. It's actually if
It's a
anyone
puzzle.
doesn't watch Sean, go back and watch all these videos because each individual tank is absolutely crazy, but these are my most favorite tanks.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, they're all kind of unique in their own way, and those are all still going. The only one like the one with a little suction cup mini garden, um, it only has one of the mini garden. The two of the mini gardens fell off, and actually the plants that were in them grew out the bottom, and then kind of went into the substrate, and now are growing all the way around the tank. So those plants just jumped out of those glass balls and are now taking over the tank in there. It's pretty strange.
I love those tanks. And there was a video maybe about oh, this could be like over a year or two ago, and you were like, "Oh, this tank is completely covered in blackbeard algae, so I'll probably take care of that later." And the whole tank was like a giant tuft of blackbeard algae. But you were just like, "Yeah, you know, I've got 17 other tanks, so I really don't need like whatever. The fish are
it
alive."
definitely it definitely reduces the panic. Like you don't have one tank that looks bad, you know, or if you have one out of 17 ain't bad, right?
Yeah, I mean that should be like a country western song, right? It must be.
Yeah, that was a
One out of
really old
17 ain't bad.
aquarium too. That was my first planted tank, and like I got into YouTube maybe a year after I started doing planted aquariums. So uh, that was a really old aquarium by the time a year or two into YouTube.
So I would love not only to now that you know so many people just in YouTube and like, maybe some friends you've met, whoever, and your daughter, KP, has her saltwater tank. Like, when are you going to break down at least 6 or 7 of your tanks and just do a saltwater tank already?
Just do
Because
one
that,
saltwater tank.
yeah, one saltwater tank. They're absolutely beautiful and rewarding, and I think you
I
would you
agree.
would love it.
Well, and like watching the stuff that you're putting together, your tanks are gorgeous. Your Evo is really amazing. I was like, oh man, Kerrigan, we're going back to the store.
Thank you.
We need more stuff. Because those things are just really, really neat. And it's one of those things where, you you don't give whiskey to an alcoholic, and you don't go, hey, we found a way to make this hobby like super interesting. I think the truth is though, I haven't accomplished everything I want to do with a planted tank. Like um, there's still so much to accomplish and things I have in my head to do for just a regular planted tank. And I really love salt water and I respect it, but I don't know. There's some stuff I want to set up at the house. Like, I'd really like to set up an RO system. I'd really like to do, yeah. And we did like last year, we did a bunch of major renovations to the house. So we're kind of like writing that out, but we're about through it. So I can start like throwing some money into other things. But I'm definitely taking down at least 4 or 5 of these aquariums. So I'll
The
be needing to make
RODI
room for other
system
stuff.
is really not that difficult, or like it's not like installing an RODI. It's literally plug and play. It comes in the mail, you open it up, and you hook it up to some water. There's a line that you want to drain either outside or into your sink or into your washing machine. And then there's a line that you put into a bucket that makes your pure water. A bucket,
Huh.
trash barrel, whatever you want. It's really not as difficult as people make it out to be. What I always saw, it was weird. I like envisioned you starting a saltwater tank and putting mangroves in the back of the tank, because the mangroves the roots system can live in the salt water, and they suck up all your nitrates and all that bad crap, and then they grow above the tank, and it's absolutely awesome. And for some reason, the other day I was like, I bet you Sean would set up a saltwater tank and he'd put mangroves in it. I almost know he
Kind of
would
like
do
a
that.
paludarium kind of setup or something like that.
Yeah. And speaking of paludariums, are you subscribed? I shouted them out the other night. And we'll get to fish nerds in a few minutes. Have you ever watched Serpa Designs?
Yes, absolutely. I love him.
I binged watched like a trillion of his videos a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh my God, there's something strange and weird about this kid that makes me just keep wanting to watch. Like, I
He
don't
does
know.
really, really great stuff.
He does amazing, and he does and then all of a sudden I'm Googling vivarium, terrarium, paludarium. I'm like Googling all these things like, oh my God, what is this? I need to do this. This is amazing. And he's strangely awkward in a sort of comfortable way. I don't
And
even know
like
how
a
to explain
perfect
it.
for YouTube kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect. You're like,
You know,
is this kid
I've
okay? But like
I've
you're
got
falling in
one
love at the same time.
I've got one that none of you have seen.
Wait, let me get my pen.
Well, now
Pen, tell me.
but it's not fish, all right? It's well, you might have seen him because he's bigger than both of us put together, but it's Ants Canada.
ANTZ or S?
I think it's S. And
All
it's
right.
all about ants and keeping ants. And it is it is amazing. Uh, he does his whole stories like with his videos. Like he's doing this thing. He goes, "We are back at El Dracan." he's got this. He's got like this little island with ants on it, right? And he's got water going around the edge of it, and it has like some chili rasboras in there and their job is to eat the ants, the feral ants that like come in from like I don't know. I guess he's got ants everywhere, so they can kind of crawl in there. He's trying to protect the ants on this island, and
I absolutely love watching. I watch more non-fish related YouTube channels than I do fish related channels.
oh, I do too. But he is he's one that I just kind of stumbled across. I think because of the chili rasboras and stuff. Every video he puts on is really interesting. He's really interactive with the audience and stuff like that too. I want to do a parody video of one of his videos, and I don't know, I'll probably do it next month when I start to run low on content.
You could do A through Z clones, all ants. I'd like to give a quick shout out to IFG, who was texting back and forth with me today about
Yeah.
having someone on the chat who can relay me important chat messages when I'm ignoring them, like via my phone.
Oh yeah.
And now that he's here and he's the wrench, I'd like to bust his balls big time. You're now that guy, IFG. So since you have my phone number, please relay me any message that is extremely important to my phone, and then I can look at the chat real quick, because I hate ignoring like all the people's questions, because they're here to ask questions, and then if I don't see them in time, I know how frustrating it is, because I've been on a live stream where I asked a question on not even an aquarium channel, and they ignore me, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, is he ever going to answer my goddamn question? How many times do I have to ask this? Yes, IFG, you are the sucker, but I love you.
Yes, KP's Aptasia is gone. She just had like 2 tiny little spots.
Oh, good, Sean. Yes. If any question is geared towards anything you can answer, please read and answer. Oh, look at this. Turbo Chris. I shook Pecktec's hand at the aquatic experience and I was super awkward, laugh out loud, but it seemed to not expect he was awesome. He was using that badass camera tripod thing. Good day. Yes. Pecktec is, since I
If you
met
think
him at
that's
the aquatic experience, is notoriously known for these strange things. If you want to go, why don't you spend a couple minutes talking about the awesomely strange things that you bring to these shows and some of your other videos?
well, a long time ago when I was doing steampunk, I wanted to make a camera stand that would kind of be part of the costume. So I made this. I took this chandelier, I completely stripped it down, I took it completely apart, rebuilt it into a camera stand, and it gets a lot of attention. Also, uh, at the aquatic experience, the light fell off and hit like 2 people in the head that were trying it out. That poor nice lady from Kessel got her head whacked by the light and the microphone off the camera stand.
Did you get some lights from her?
No. No, and you know, I understand. Like they weren't very quick to respond or anything to my questions, but they I don't know. I ended up buying some anyway. I really like the Kessel lights. I also bought a number of the floodlights though, and they seem to be working really well too. So it's all just a matter of what you got a budget for in your project.
On all of your 18 tanks, it is, right?
Right. Yeah. Some get a little bit more love than others do, light wise.
So I would love to ask this question because I know how it is. When you have all these tanks and the plants, you know, literally you can see yourself like going through days and days and days of work and real life, and the plants grow and you kind of don't notice. There's a lot of detritus. There's a lot of crap that builds up like with those big, like as you can see behind me, you know, this planted tank is huge and the plants are just crazy. And I only do a water change on this thing like every 3 months. But when I do, there is a lot of crap that comes out of the middle of those plants.
Yeah. They really grab it and collect it in there.
And do you think that's important to leave there for the plants to, you know, suck up that sort of that nutrients, or do you like gravel back it all out? Like, I guess my question is, because I've had a lot of tanks, when you go do all your water changes, are you just like trying to get that water out, get new water in, get it done, or are you like getting in there with your gravel vac and like really getting all that shit out of there? Like, is it a true you love every tank, or is it let's just get these water changes over with?
No, well, I never gravel back any of my tanks really. I don't. I pretty much put the hose in and I'll suck it. You know, I'll just suck the water out and I'll take my hand and I kind of run it through the plants and I pull out any algae that might have collected in there. The amount of algae you have should probably determine how, you know, how much detritus you're pulling out. So, you know, if you don't have any algae and stuff, then your plants are getting a bunch to eat and they're gonna absorb all that stuff. But I don't fuss with any of the tanks too much. I mean, once the ones I set them up, the way I set them up is to be easy and automatic, so I can have lots of them. It is kind of weird to have, you know, instead of like a show tank or 2 show tanks, to have like, you know, 10 or 15 that are you want to look really great on camera. You know, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would probably have like I'd probably have 5 or 6 tanks, and they'd be in they'd be in good. Everything would be healthy, but they maybe wouldn't look as clean as they do. Having a YouTube channel definitely changes all that.
Do you ever stress out about the amount of tanks you have? Like, wouldn't it be somewhat simpler to cut down the amount of tanks? But like, I always thought one of your show tanks was, and I haven't seen a whole lot of the new big tank, but I love the new 55. And it's probably like a year old right now, right? Like a little over a year old, maybe.
What, the
It's got to
one
be.
that's behind me?
Yeah, that one.
That's actually like a couple of. It's probably at least 2 years old.
Well, I know you're running the Mega Box filter on that thing. So whenever you won that for your video, that's how old that tank is. And I love that tank. That's probably one
it's
of my
a
favorite ones.
it's pretty cool. That was my first dirted tank.
IFG is asking. Oh, that is your first. All right. Well, let me pause on IFG's question real quick. Tell me about the first dirted tank, because so many of my subscribers ask how to dirt a tank. What do you use for dirt? Do you cap it? Do you do this? Do you do that? Is it a mess? Like, what are your experience in dirting that tank?
You know, what happened with me is like I saw plant growth like I'd never seen before for about, I guess, about 6 months, and then I did a really big trim, thinking the momentum would just keep up, but I trimmed and then things just kind of stopped. Everything just kind of stopped growing, and then it was like kind of okay to mediocre after that. It never really had that bang that it had that very first time. So I don't know if maybe I didn't include enough. Like maybe I should have put more dirt in there. I was expecting it to last a lot longer, but um, just with a couple of root tabs and stuff like that, I've been able to augment it a little bit. And I give it some of those root tabs whenever you guys send them to me. I'll pop them in the sand, and it helps things out. What I have noticed is I get a lot of hair algae. I get more hair algae in this tank. It's the only algae I get. I don't get anything else, but I tend to get it in this tank more than any of the other tanks that I have. So
We are actually, well, I got an email from Jack Kent the other day, the owner of Brightwell Continuum, and he has a product out there that literally you dose your tank and it just destroys hair algae. He showed me videos and everything, and I'm really, really dying to get this in my aquarium box. It's already launched, but I don't want to tell everybody what it is just yet, because I'd really love to get it in my aquarium box, and I think that'll take care of your tank, because he showed me a whole time lapse, and I'm convinced I'm buying the stuff for myself. Never mind like putting it in everybody's boxes. I think it's going to be absolutely unbelievable. It just looks amazing. Let's just hope it's not like filled with like something crazy that like kills all the fish or something.
yeah, I know. It's like I guess it depends on if it's an algicide or something like that. I don't tend to
It's
put those things in.
It's not an algicide. He gave me, and I'll let Greg look at it because I'm not the scientist. Greg will look at it and be like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's got GS 17-42P. We cannot bring this into anybody's tank." And I'm like, "Huh? Just put it in the box, Greg."
Greg's awesome. Greg's
But
awesome.
that's why Greg's in charge.
He's got that analytical mind.
IFG is asking you, how's the sump coming along?
You know what? The sump is doing good. The sump is doing good, I'd say overall. I don't really understand sock filters. Like I don't know. I've never had a sump with a sock filter, and I haven't talked about it a whole lot. But I'm like, do you reuse those? Do you wash them out? It seems like something you could rinse out and then reuse. So
Yeah, well, a sock filter basically, think of it like if you have your kitchen sink and you have that like little mesh thing in the drain, so it catches all the shit that you're washing from your dishes and the water goes down, but all the crap like stays behind. A filter sock is that. It traps all the big crap, all the debris, anything that's like heavy. It's like a coarse sponge. And then
Well,
what you can do is
I
pull
know
those
it's.
out, clean them, and wash them in your washing machine.
Oh yeah, with just no
Tuck them in.
detergent.
Yeah, like rinse them out in the sink, because you don't want
All
you know,
that, yeah.
all that shit in there, and then throw them in the washing machine with like a load of towels or whatever, like when you're
Huh.
doing towels, and it'll clean them. Or I mean, you can always, like, if you're like super crazy, but you're freshwater, so like it really only matters for saltwater. If you're super crazy in saltwater, you'll like bleach them and like rinse them in RODI and like, but just throw them in the laundry, rinse them out, and it's basically a coarse sponge. It's gonna catch all your heavy debris, which really, when you have a sump in a planted tank, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, it's just a giant pain in the ass canister filter, in my opinion.
Well, at least it's not pressurized, so you don't have a. I don't, it's less likely to leak. Uh,
That's true. Um,
it has been. It's neat. It's like they're big plastic buckets, right? But they're specially made plastic buckets, so they're surprisingly fun to interact with. I mean, for what it is. I mean, it's a big plastic bucket that connects to another one that connects to another one. But I love that they have the glass top, so you can look in there and see what's going on. There's plenty of room to put things in there, and I'm about to add an extra tub to mine. I just had to order a part, so I'm going to put an extra tub in it. I think next month, and it'll add like 20 gallons to the tank. So
yeah,
I don't know.
the sumps will add so much more volume to the tank. I wouldn't even run those filter socks. I would have
So just
your
put filter floss in it.
filter socks. I would just put filter floss right in that first chamber.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll catch everything. Actually, I would even run that after. I would just put like a regular sponge, like big sponges, like a coarse sponge, and then do your filter floss. And then you have like a whole the whole middle chamber. You could even put it like another fish tank, you know?
The only problem with that first chamber where the water comes in, where the filter socks are, is the hole for it's really small. So I could put a bunch of stuff in there, but I think getting it out is going to be kind of difficult. Like even getting the socks out is pretty hard. So, but I
Well, you
had
could
considering pulling those socks out and just throwing filter floss in there, and I could just use like I don't know,
a
like some
grabber,
tongs or something to kind of pull it out. I don't.
one
It
of
maybe
those
wouldn't be too bad.
one of those grabbers where you're like 90 and you got to grab the top book off the shelf.
Yeah,
Grabber.
the
Yeah,
grabber.
I would get those socks. So the benefit of socks is that they can last a really long time, and you can just wash them and put them back in. Where it's not like, but filter floss is so cheap, you can just pull it out and toss it and just throw some more in,
Right.
and it
Yeah.
lasts fairly long. You can pull it apart and just like take that top crappy part off and just like put the rest back in.
Hey, Greg. Greg
Oh,
said
look, Uncle Greg.
hello.
And he says it's his two favorite people. Poor Julie, his wife,
Oh
must feel
man,
so bad right now.
all those little oxalotls.
I
I
would
guess
love
they're
to.
not people, so they don't count.
Yeah, I don't think Axwell. I can never say it. I don't think those things. Although they love Greg, I don't think they really care. Is what's going on in the world. I would like to give Greg Jones a quick shout out. I talked a little bit about him in the live stream last night with Joey. Greg Jones, folks, is while I'm the creator of my aquarium box, he is the person who does 95% of the work for my aquarium box. Greg is working constantly with his own job, and he spends what I feel like every spare minute of his day working on my aquarium box, and nothing that is my aquarium box could have ever happened without Greg Jones, folks. So go check out Greg. He's a great guy. He's one of the nicest people I know. Sincerely a nice person. I spend a lot of time with Greg, and I don't think I've ever actually seen him be mad, except one time when we had to put 97 million teaspoons of something in a bag, and it looked like we were dealing Coke, but we were actually just creating algae spores or some shit. But yeah, Greg Jones is a truly great guy.
He really is. He's a nice fella. Got a lot of good information on his channel too. Really, really cool fish room.
Yeah, his automatic. I don't see this very often in the YouTube world. He has a no water change system where he has, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think it's about 12, 40 breeders. And then he's got his big turtle pond in his basement, and it's all automated water. Water drains out and water drips in. He's got a drip system so that it's constantly changing water, and he never has to do water changes. And I have looked on YouTube. I don't see anybody that's doing this. And it's truly amazing to see. Well, his water bill is through the roof, but
Is it
it's no
expensive up
maintenance.
there?
He just has to feed and clean the glass if he wants to have clear glass.
What are water bills like up where you guys are?
So all right, let's put this in perspective since we live literally 20 minutes from each other. My water bill, we get billed quarterly. So for anybody that's maybe 10 and under, that's 4 times a year. And my water bill for last quarter, I just got it, was $192. And I have reef tanks, so I run RODI systems. So I'm wasting water to make RODI water. I have 4 kids that are in the showers all the time. I'm running the dishwasher a million times a day. I'm doing tons and tons of laundry, and my bill was under $200 for 3 months. Greg's bill, who has no kids and probably doesn't do a whole lot of dishes, was $800. And that was on his he was on Rico's live stream. Greg's lying. He says $100 to $200 a month water. Yeah, okay, so exactly.
Well, in a
He was
quarter,
on
that'd be
Rico's
4
live stream
times
and he was
that.
like, I just got my water bill. That's the cost of never having to do a water change, $800. But folks, he does not have to spend any time doing that because he spends all his time doing my aquarium box. The dude is crazy.
You can make more money, but you can't make more time. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a great way to put that.
So I got that from Swiss Tropicals. He said that.
Swish. Is
Have you
that
ever met him?
Swish? I have not.
He's had a lot of conventions and stuff. I know you're just now getting into conventions and going there, but he does like matin filters and stuff like that. And I did the corner filter for the Into the Woods tank I got from him, and I did a little interview with him. He's really neat.
I've had a lot of recent people Facebook messaging me and emailing me through the My Aquarium Box Gmail. This one guy in particular, Adam, who doesn't agree with Patreon or anything like that, but he did send me $20 via PayPal and said, have a beer on me, mate. And he said spot on and stuff like that. So since I'm friends with Michael, I assume he's from the UK. While I have not asked that. And he gave me this guy's channel. It's like crazy fish guy. Something. He's some guy from Sweden.
Zach's
right?
crazy aquarium guy.
Zach's crazy aquarium guy.
With the big ass puffers. He's got tons
with
of
that
big
giant
puffers.
puffer that I've never seen. That thing is awesome.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
And I clicked on his thing and I was like, oh yeah, I love watching new YouTubers. Let's see, we'll segue this into fish nerds. I love watching new YouTubers. Let's watch this. And it was like, I love the accent. And then he's like, and then so I appreciate you coming to my channel, and I have a fish tank I'm about to show you. Thank you. I'm in the kitchen. And it's like he kind of just like spaces out in some of his videos, and it's completely hilarious. And I love watching it. It's like real. I love watching real.
Yeah, and he's funny. He bought one of my shirts and sent me some pictures of him wearing the shirts, and if you buy a shirt, I'll subscribe to you. That's what it costs nowadays. No, I'm kidding. But but anyway, I subscribe to his channel and I've watched some of his videos and stuff. And I think he's really cool.
Yeah,
we got D from Brooklyn in here. There's a really nice guy.
D is another former My Aquarium Box receiver that I
Aficionado.
contacted him. You guys were one of the first. D
Yeah.
actually is I have D's dollar up in my fish room downstairs. D was the very first person to pay for my aquarium box with his own money, and I have his dollar. D's a really good a friend of mine via social media. I can't wait to meet him next year at the Aquatic Experience in New Jersey because he lives in Brooklyn. He's D from Brooklyn. He's a
I
really
want to
great guy.
go.
I thought you're not staying with us? I
Huh?
already told Greg that we're gonna treat Sean to every meal and everything for the whole week. He has to come. There's no
Wow.
ifs,
How
ands,
could
or
I say
buts
no to
about it.
that? I never say no to free food.
Oh, how awesome was that steak dinner when we were like, I'll have the steak. I'll have the steak. Michael's like, I'll have the steak. You're like, I'll have the steak. And Greg's like, I'll have chicken and water. You guys suck.
What was that place? That was really good.
That was the Weber's Grill and Steakhouse or something.
That was a terrific steakhouse.
That was awesome. That meal was fucking unbelievable.
He says we have to get steaks.
Oh yeah, we will.
Yes.
D, we will get steaks. We will go out. Sean, it will come. Even if he has to fly to my house and stay at my house for a day, and then we'll drive down together and he can fly home, whatever he has to do.
That'd be fun.
It's cheap. Flights are cheap, and then you don't have to pay for anything else. You just promise to like carry a few boxes in, make giant,
No.
crazy experience, and then you're good to go.
I think that'd be great. That'd be a lot of fun. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. What is it the same time as it was this year, like in November?
Yeah, I think it's in November, but this year it's in New Jersey, which is
Right.
awesome because it's like 3 hours away instead of 20 hours away. Like I can literally watch Super Troopers on my phone, and I'm like 75% of the way there. It's like, all right, let's get a burger and we'll be there. Awesome.
No, it is nice for you guys. I mean, even Chicago is about 9 hours for me. But I think I'm over driving. I do that long drive like every month or every once a year, to some event up north. Even the before the aquarium stuff, it was like a steampunk convention up in Wisconsin every year. And a long, lonely drive that is.
That's way too by myself. I would probably be comfortable with doing 4 hours by myself. D says he's getting a get out of jail free card for that week. Donald Fish Vibe says no beers tonight. I got beers. Dilly dilly. Turbo Chris says it's an hour for me. Oh, Flynn's Fish Room. Oh look, Sean's drinking too. I never see him. It was not a Blue Moon.
It's sparkling raspberry Kirkland's drink.
Oh my god, that's pathetic.
0 calorie.
Well, that's a good thing, at least. Who's this? Whatchamacallit says Flynn's Fish Forum says I think it's in October this year.
I got to meet Flynn. He was a nice guy.
Oh, here's ARD's Corner says, Mike, glad you got the cash. Enjoy the beer, mate, and sorry for my bit of a rant about blah, 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 blah. Okay. Not necessary to say that ARD, but yeah, he's been emailing me back and forth. He had a few things to say, but don't need to say that on the stream. D from Brooklyn, Dilly Dilly, of course. I actually need another beer. So that means I have to ask Sean a question so he can at least have 2 minutes to answer.
Oh.
Let me see in my little book of questions what. No. Oh, well, let's do it. Were you ready for a 2-part question?
Okay.
All right. Here's a 2-part question. Part 1. Do you think it's harder or easier for new aquarium channels to try and make a name for themselves? And after you answer that, are you ever jealous of new channels climbing so fast while you've been doing this for so long. Now, this is not necessarily a who's got the biggest you-know-what contest. It's just like, is it easier for people to get more subscribers and more views now? Is it harder? And for those people that are just flying through the subscribers, do you ever feel like, I've been doing this for a long time, I can't believe they've like gotten this far?
You know, I have been doing it for a long time, but you know, we all have these particular demographics, I guess, that we're people are more likely to watch. You know, these different demographics and stuff. So, I think the younger, of course, the really young and beautiful YouTubers are always going to do like that much better. You know, and that's fine. I mean, I'm fine with that. Like, I don't do it for the numbers anymore. I've had periods where, you know, of course I want to be successful and I want to grind it out and just and be a big YouTuber and stuff. And it would be neat to do this instead of, you know, going to my day job and that sort of stuff. But uh, it's never really been a part of that. It's I just want to share my story. I want to make silly videos and have fun. I want to share my aquariums with people. I get a big kick out of even, you know, at my audience, which isn't small. Like, it's not huge and it's not small. So the answer is yes. I'm very jealous all the time.
I am very jealous all the time because while I think I just went over 31,000 subscribers, I don't get as nearly as many views on my videos as, like you'll upload a video and you'll get like 6,000 views in like a week. And I'll upload a video and I'll get like 2,000 views in a week. And it doesn't matter what I upload or what you upload. It's just like the way it is. So
What's more frustrating for me is I try to be real in tune with what my audience wants and that sort of thing. But I also balance that against me going, well, you know what? Today, my clone and I are going to talk about something, and it's probably not going to be an aquarium, or or I've got this piece of electronics gear, and it seems stupid to buy it for $200 and not make a video, talking about why I got this thing. So
the clones are the best. I friggin' love the clones. That video we did, which was like a kind of like a pseudo ball busting, where you came into my house and we did that video. I watch that all the time. I just think it's very funny.
it is really fun to make too.
And you do this crazy stuff where people might watch and say like, oh, Pecktec put out a 9-minute video, but they don't realize how many hours it took you to make 9 minutes worth of film with clones.
They're
just using,
so hard to work with. They're always taking breaks and eating and
they're hyper.
Yeah,
and they don't listen.
They cause trouble. They're just big smartasses, all of them.
They're like big kids, really.
The video I made last weekend, I started working on it. I took the day off on Friday. I started working on it at 9:30 in the morning, and I finished it at 2 in the morning Saturday. So
that is crazy.
And it was like 8 minutes, something like 8 or 9 minutes.
Yeah, so a lot. I've talked about this on a lot of my live streams. Is like I just shoot with my phone. I press record. I do one take. If I fuck up, I don't really give a shit, because I don't edit the video anyway. If I was editing my video, I could do a bunch of takes, put all the film together, pick out the best moments. But it's just when I get motivated to shoot a video, so to speak, it's just, all right, yeah, this is a great idea. Let's shoot it. Boom, put it on YouTube. I'm lucky if I click the right buttons to get it monetized or to put up my tags or whatever. And then there's people like you that put so much effort into it that it's just like I feel obligated to watch from 0 second to the very last minute because I know how much work you put into it. And it always pays off at the end, in the middle, and every part of it. So it's pretty, fascinating, the amount of work.
I appreciate that. And I try to do more videos by doing live streams and stuff like that. Actually, this is the first live stream I've done since I got my new cable. So I just got AT&T versus Xfinity that I had before.
I love Xfinity. Did you not like that?
It was okay, but it would just suddenly I would have no signal at all. And it was going up and down and up and down. And I was to the point where I couldn't do a live stream. And I still like I did 3 or 4 live streams and like I had to delete them because people would go to watch it later and the encoding was all messed up where the audio wasn't matching up and all these problems were happening. So I've just shied away from them because I don't want to waste anybody's time.
I
I
remember
felt like I
that live stream you did where you were talking but the audio wasn't going. You
oh my
did, and
god.
you eventually fixed it anyway.
In the old days, I did it more on a laptop and stuff. I've been trying to do it on the phone, and I think that app must just suck. Or is that what you use?
For
When you do a live stream, do you use a laptop or do you use your phone?
I just use my phone.
See, for some reason, it just doesn't work for me. So,
And you have an iPhone too, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so my iPhone works perfect for live streams. It's never crashed. The battery stays powered. Um, Joey on the live stream last night, he tried to do a live stream during the day, and 20 minutes in, his phone crashed. And then we were talking last night, and he has the new iPhone 10, and he says, I hate it. It gets really hot, and it crashes randomly all the time.
Really? I've
Which,
got the 8.
yeah,
I just got it right before I went to see you.
yeah, you got the new phone. I remember that. And I got the 7. Oh no, it's the 6S. So it's the 7, but it's not big. But
Right.
I love the thing. I've never had one problem with it ever. And he says his phone crashes all the time. He hates it.
That's crazy. Well, I just got Holly and Kerrigan the 10, so I'll let you know how bad it is.
Yeah, is KP doing? But she doesn't. Does she do a lot of like long? Is she just texting and Snapchatting, or is she doing long stuff on the phone, like using it as a small computer?
Oh, she's on it quite a lot.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
I want to smack it out of her hand, but now it's too expensive. So
yeah, I
I
know.
just
You
kind of
got
gesture at
let
her.
her have it. I
Yeah.
also like to give a quick shout out to Rico Reef Tanks. He's on here being a wrench for me. Um, taking care of people, checking the chat, making sure everything's cool. What do we got? 45 people watching. That's pretty good. I love doing these live streams now. Rico's the king of live streams, but I was
Oh
just
yeah.
like, I couldn't wait to get you on. And then when you were like, shit, I just finished water changes. Yeah, I can go on right now. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not prepared. I don't got my questions prepared. I don't have anything. And then I'm like, well, you know what? It's Sean. Like, he's my boy. We can just go on. We'll just shoot the shit. We don't have to. It doesn't have to be like scripted or anything. We'll just
Yeah.
hang out.
I like to talk. I can usually say a few things.
Let's. You want me to ask you another question? Another
Okay.
funky question.
All right.
Let's see here. Oh, this. Well, I already know the answer to this because we did a lot of talking in Chicago. And I already know your answer to this question. So why would I ask you that? Oh my! Like one of my favorite questions to ask is if YouTube didn't have AdSense revenue, would you still make as many YouTube videos as you do, currently do? And I feel like the answer to that would be yes, because you probably make little to no money on AdSense, yet you spend many hours editing your videos.
Well, yeah, it's definitely. I don't make enough to pay for the cameras and the editing, but what I do get has like helped push the hobby forward for me, just because I take that money and I put it into a small extra bank account that's just for the show, and so when I bring new products and stuff in, that's all money that I've earned. So I get AdSense and I get some stuff from Amazon. So when people shop, when they go through the links at the bottom of my videos, they go to Amazon, they check out the products and stuff. if they buy something, I get a little something for that too. So I've got AdSense and I've got Amazon, and then I got the T-shirts. So that's the revenue streams for my channel, and it's a really conservative model. I don't have Patreon going or anything like that yet. I thought about doing it, I just never got around to it. And but the T-shirts basically paid for the sump that I put under the big tank, so that was really awesome. And the AdSense pays for it. It kind of keeps some new products flowing in. It gives me a little bit more clout to go, I'm going to start a new aquarium, which is always like a discussion with a wife. Anytime you're going to spend more than a couple $100, unless you're just filthy rich, you should really discuss it with your spouse. And because it's hard to sneak in you can sneak in a little tiny tank, but if you want to do a big tank, you're going to have to. There's some give and take. So having a revenue stream, any kind of revenue stream, even if it isn't a ton of money, definitely makes a huge difference as far as like really getting your stuff going. But I would continue to make videos, but there probably wouldn't be as many videos because I wouldn't have as much stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, let's say that every video you made $0. You can't sell T-shirts. You don't get your Amazon affiliate codes anymore. And it's just you sharing your tanks just for the hell of it. Like, would you spend, like, literally when you're on YouTube and you get to a certain point where you can actually make, let's call it a $200 a month. Let's just say that.
Right.
What kind of time is worth your $200 a month? Now, while you look at it and say, wow, I'm pulling in an extra $200 a month through YouTube and my AdSense and this and that, I'm just throwing out a random figure, by the way, folks.
Right.
This is not some specific figure. But what people don't realize is maybe you're spending like literally 40 hours a month for that $200.
Or more.
Through setting up tanks, doing your water changes, filming it, editing it, everything you do for $200 a month. I think it's good for folks out there to realize that it's not easy and it's not rewarding.
What's crazy too is when we do a video, if we're setting up a new aquarium, then we don't just set it up and then that's it. I mean, we've just committed to all the time it takes to maintain that aquarium. So there's only so many new tanks you can set up on YouTube and be responsible.
Yeah, you can't just keep going and going and going and going.
Yeah. I'm going to pare down like what I've got going on. I think my little tank, this little 10-gallon tank behind me, is going over to my sister's house. I set up a tank over at her house, but it's a rimless tank, and she's got this cat that won't keep its face out of there. So I'm going to trade her for this 10-gallon that I've had set up for years, put some puffers in there, and take it over to her place. And some of these other tanks I'm going to break down and just try again on some stuff. Like I like the Flex, but I don't like my aquascape in there, so I'm going to redo that.
It's always fun to redo tanks. I love this tank behind me, which is coming up this, let's call it this August maybe, will be 2 years. And, it's everything I wanted it to be and more. And I think I'm ready to just tear it down, start fresh, because I've learned in the past that multi-tank syndrome is real, folks. It's not something that you want to mess around with. Sean can attest to that. And sometimes it's better to take down a tank, save the fish, and start over than it is to just add another tank and another tank and another tank. Because I don't know about all of you guys, the most fun of the aquarium hobby, and my English is very poor, is setting up the tank and getting it planted and fished and what you're going to do here and what you're going to do there. And then once it's there, you're like, oh shit, now I got to water change this thing all the time. Like, it
Yeah,
looks pretty, but now I got to take care of it. So don't forget
you
that
just
part when you
you've
start
just
uploading
created a
19
new.
tanks.
It's a new life form. It's like a whole. It's a whole new project for you. That if it's like a tank is for most people, it'd be encompassing a lot of your time and concentration. But if we set up a tank, and if you've already got even two other tanks, I mean, your attention's split. So what, I don't know how I ended up with 18 of them going at the same time, but definitely going to turn that down. It's getting a little crazy.
Yeah, I can almost envision all those tanks I used to have in my house, and really it was like I was so frustrated. Like I gotta spend this whole, there's this Facebook post of this guy, and I live in Massachusetts, and like we're used to snow and crappy weather all the time. But there's
Right.
this guy, he's like, gotta get the milk and bread. Oh my God, there's gonna be 2 inches. Gotta get the milk and bread. Like that's what I feel like. When I had all those tanks at one point, I was just like, oh my God, I have to still cook dinner and give baths and do laundry. Like, do you realize the amount of tanks I have to take care of? This is, do you know what's going on in my, and then, it was just completely taking over everything. And so I was like, I got to chill out, crash all these tanks and just get down to like a manageable tank load that is enjoyable to take care of and look at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, really with aquariums too, it's patience and balance are the two big concepts for me in aquariums. So uh, the balance is definitely off when I'm working 50 hours or so at a regular job and trying to make a YouTube video that's going to take me maybe 10 or 11 hours, and also maintaining my tanks, and then also taking the time to enjoy them, to really sit in front of them and enjoy it.
It has almost become, if you can't make a full-time job out of it, like Dustin, Joey. I mean, I can't think of very many aquarium YouTube channels that are really grinding out and making a full-time job out of it. It is a lot of hours to be put into a channel for really nothing. So like everybody that has like 500 subscribers and they're like, oh, you guys are so lucky, I can't wait to get to that so I can start making bank and doing this. Folks, there's not that much money at all.
Yeah.
And the amount of time Sean puts into his videos, he's probably getting paid about 50 cents an hour, I would say. Four
Oh
to
yeah,
five
probably.
videos a month, 11 videos at a time, 55 hours a month on YouTube. Maybe $2 an hour.
Well, I don't know. It's I've had a lot of people ask me, like, a lot of people are really interested, concerned about the amount of money you can make on YouTube. And I think the general rule of thumb is, you're not going to be quitting your job at under 200,000 subscribers, probably. I think Joey went full time at like 90,000, maybe 100,000. But even then, he was living pretty modestly, you know.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
go ahead.
I don't remember where Dustin was at when he finally left his job, but he also incorporated a business into it, which is like the really great model is if you're doing like Dustin or Aquarium Co-op, and you're integrating your business with your channel, and it's all there together in this. If it's all together in one thing, then I think those guys could break off and just do YouTube a little bit faster than the rest of us. But
Well, Joey said something on a live stream, on one of Rico's live streams, that I've actually heard at a seminar before. Is if you think of your revenue as a bike wheel with lots of spokes, and if one spoke breaks, you have many more spokes that are going to keep you going.
right,
But if your bike wheel only has one spoke and that thing breaks, well, then you're shit out of luck.
right.
So you can't bank all your, throw in all your chips on one thing. You got to have multiple streams coming in. You got to have multiple avenues in order to make, and I'm not talking about a 9-to-5er like we work to make the paycheck, to pay the mortgage. If you're going to throw yourself out there and be YouTube full time and be Facebook and Instagram and this and that, and like you got to have multiple streams of revenue coming in. So if something's not working, you've got something else to fall back on.
Yeah, I mean, it it's definitely not something you're going to throw all your eggs in one basket. And it's a time game. It's a numbers game. Like I might spend, like, sure, I might get like $2 for that, or let's see, a really good a video. If it does really good on that first week, I'll make maybe $25, and that's not a lot for a whole Saturday worth of work, right? But over time, people, if it's really good, like I've got a couple of videos that people watch all the time. Like my most popular video is a video I made. It's the 6-gallon fluval edge, a video I made years ago. It's an aquarium a friend of mine bought, and I just kind of set it up. And it makes like $15 a month, and that aquarium hasn't been running in years. It's a super old halogen light version of that aquarium, and I don't know why it's so popular. Like I can never predict what's going to be popular. So, yeah, it's a cumulative thing. So if you just keep going and keep going and keep going, when you've got 300 or 400 videos, they can start to generate an okay revenue for you. So there's a little bit of a numbers game and all that too.
Imagine if you're uploaded a video and within the first 24 hours you had 250,000 views.
Ooh,
off every
nice.
video.
Well, when you're there, yeah, you can devote that time, and then you should be making 5 videos a week.
And then you can make those videos a week.
Yeah, then you can afford to do it. But I don't know.
Unfortunately, I cannot do that.
I can't either. Maybe one day.
So what time we got? We got 10:35. Why don't we do a couple we'll scroll through the chat and see if we can get some people to ask a few questions that they're interested in, and then we'll call it a night.
All right.
Let's Rico's still chatting it up. D's still around. There's got to be someone that has a question.
You're like, oh, you've been ignoring us for
I know
30
you
minutes.
you just talked to your buddy that you could have just texted this to the whole time, but yet you involved all of us, and you ignored all of us, right?
The old live stream lag. That's the other thing too. Is like you'll ask a question and it's like a couple of minutes before they get one out.
Oh, I've been friggin' killing it with my questions in my interviews, but I already know half your answers to these, so it's very tough. It's tough interviewing someone that you know, or it's not like I'm your best buddy, but like I've met you and we've talked and we text. So there's certain questions on here that I already know the answers to.
So PJF says, "Is the lid still not on right on the steampunk tank?" The my lid on the top of the tank is I coated it in this kind of water resistant stuff, but it still is thinner than all the other pieces of wood, and it warped a little bit. So that's just part of the natural splendor of wood.
It's a splendor of wood.
That's right. It's the splendor of wood.
All right. Let's see. What do we get? What? We already answered that. We did that. How about this one? I'll tweak this one. This will be the last question. And then if anybody has any questions on the chat, we'll answer those. What are your future plans for your YouTube channel?
Well,
and do you even have any?
I've been taking it kind of day by day on my YouTube channel, and I haven't made like any huge plans. Like I'm always looking for a new idea for a show. I might do some more parody stuff. I'm gonna try to do. I'll continue to soldier on with all the fish related projects and stuff, and anything I got going on with aquariums. I try to do that every Sunday. It's been every Sunday for about 3 years, and I'm kind of getting to the point where I might take a break. So I was thinking about taking about a month off from the fish videos and making like a really here's what I want to make is I want to make like Pecktec the movie. I want to make a full 2 hour feature and with the clones and like really finish their story out. Like I'd like to just kind of like close the book on all that and be done with it because they're eating me out of house and home. I just can't afford to keep them here. But so I might at some point in the summer take a break and take about a month off and make a really really long video, but more like a film almost. I've always wanted to make a short film, so I want to play with that. So
I think between all your skills and you get the drone that you can fly around and take awesome shots, like the dramatic like bump like duh, 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 and it's like zooming in from the sky. Every last year or when you first got your drone, well, maybe 2 years ago, I really enjoyed all your videos that were
with the
had the
flying
drone
around
involved. And then when I got to put the glasses on and like and you flew it around and I was like flying over friggin' Schaumburg, Illinois, or wherever the frig we were, like that was awesome. So I love those videos. I think
Don't you have a drone? You have a drone now, don't you?
no, I didn't buy one yet.
You haven't bought one yet?
No, Michael came over. Well, Michael flew over, but when we were done with the
Oh,
show, he was flying the drone with my kids in the cul-de-sac, just like
okay.
messing around and
I
letting the
remember
kids
I
fly
saw
the
your
drone.
house. I saw your house from the air, but I forgot that he was there too, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was him. He was doing the whole thing. It was fun. I mean, it's all a blast.
Greg wants to help shoot the movie. We'll go down a few days early and shoot the movie. That'd be cool. We could at least do part of it.
I'm on board. I'm a great actor, literally.
I'd really love to do one of those, like almost like Blues Brothers, where I get as many different collabs, like try for the ultimate collab video, where we get you guys and just about everybody I've ever met with a YouTube channel. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be absolutely amazing.
Or our own version of, I was thinking about making the fish tuber version of a YouTube rewind because YouTube's never going to ask us to do a rewind video, but we could probably make our own. I think that would be pretty cool too.
And there's like years and years and years of footage you could grab from that.
Yeah, I know.
Like not
Yeah.
just like, someone's in the chat like, "Oh, I started watching you last year." Like there's like friggin' at least 10 to 12 years of footage of everybody doing all the stuff. It would be amazing.
Like even going back to the Rick and
The Rick, I mean, he hasn't done a video in how many years? Who knows?
it's been about 2 years now. I think about him all the time. I hope he's doing all right wherever he is.
I asked him, I asked him, I said, "Hey, would you be willing to do the Rick one-on-one with me?" And he's like, "Oh no, your channel's not that big, and I've worked too hard to get my channel to where it is." And I think he
Oh,
had like 5,000 subscribers or something.
really?
I was like, "All
Oh,
right,
back
well, one day maybe."
then. Wow. It's amazing how long ago that was now.
Yeah, it was a real long time ago, and I did a video with him. But then when I asked for the one-on-one, he was like, "Nah, you're not. I'm not interested. I,
Huh.
I'm good." I was like, "All right, well, good luck to you. It's okay."
Yeah. There's all kinds of personalities in YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, it is surely some sort of hierarchy that is really funny. I guess you could say.
River Life is asking if I ever went to, if I still go to roller derby. And no, the answer is no. I haven't been in a while. My first YouTube videos were roller derby videos, or some of
That's
my
funny.
first ones.
That's hilarious. I actually saw a Facebook post that was like, your memory from like friggin' 10 years ago with KP, and you had rollerblades and knee pads and elbow pads on. I was like, oh my God, look at this. What a tool.
Yeah, soon to receive a broken rib. I think like literally within 30 minutes of that picture, I was screaming in pain.
That is freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you say? You want to call it a night? Because I'm getting tired. There's a lot
Yeah.
of people watching and interacting, but like I think I'm ready to like chill, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think it's time to, is it Miller time?
Yeah, it's medication and Miller time.
All right. Well, I had a
I
great
would,
time talking with you guys, and it's really nice of everybody to come out and listen to me ramble. That's really cool.
yes, I always love when people listen to me ramble, and I'd like to thank Sean coming on my live stream. He's uh, always been super helpful, super cool dude, and a great friend all around. Anytime I ask him for anything or to just shoot the shit and hang out, he's up for it, and that's what I love about you. And uh, thanks for coming on, Sean.
All right. Anytime, anytime at all.
So we'll close it out, and as Sean likes to say, uh, I'll let him say it. Follow.
Your bliss.
Good night.